The soup hit my head and ran down my face. It was hot and salty. My son Daniel banged the spoon on the counter. "You've got 10 minutes to leave," he said. I stood there, wet and shocked. 10 minutes? I asked. My hands shook. The kitchen clock ticked loud. I lifted the bowl so it would not spill more. I kept my voice calm. Daniel did not look at me. "You heard me, Ma." His wife, Carly, stood behind him with her arms crossed. She had a small smile. The kitchen smelled like onions and thyme. My sweater stuck to my back. "This is my house," I said in a quiet voice. I was not yelling. I was just saying a fact. The deed had both our names on it. I paid the property tax last week with a cashier's check. "I had the receipt?" Carly rolled her eyes. "For now," she said. Daniel repeated it. "For now." My stomach dropped. He wiped his hands and looked at the back door, as if I was already gone. I took a slow breath. I would not cry. I would not beg. "I'll pack a bag," I said. Daniel's face showed relief, like he had won something. The stove clock said 7:11 p.m. A drop fell from my sleeve to the floor. I counted my thoughts. Plan, move, keep proof. I walked to my room and closed the door. I locked it. The click made me feel steady. I put a small suitcase on the bed. I made that quilt the winter Daniel's father died. I packed socks, underwear, 2 blouses, and my best slacks. I added my toothbrush. Folding clothes calmed me. On my dresser were papers I keep in one place. I laid them out. Property tax receipt dated October 3rd. Roof repair invoice. Water heater bill with Daniel's signature as co-owner. I looked at each date and each amount. I do this because I know life gets messy. Papers help. Outside my door, I heard a little laugh. Carly's voice was sweet. "She won't fight it." "She never does." My hand curled into a fist and then opened. "I do fight. I just do it smart." I slid the papers into a plastic sleeve and put them in my purse. I added my phone and charger. I also took my small spiral notebook. I write dates and what people say in that notebook. I write names and times. It helps later when people forget. 10 minutes is not long, but it is enough time to think. It is enough time to take proof. It is enough time to make a plan. If they wanted me gone, fine. I would leave for now. But I would not be finished. I opened the door. Daniel stood there, hand up to knock. "Clock's ticking," he said. "Don't make this harder." I looked at him. "Oh, honey," I said, calm and clear. "I'm just getting started." I walked past him. The family photos on the wall were a little crooked. Daniel's graduation. His first apartment key. A card he once gave me that said, "World's Best Mom." My hair was sticky with soup. I kept walking. In the hallway, I picked up my coat and my small bag. I took my car keys from the hook. I checked my purse again. Receipts, notebook, phone. I took one last look at the living room. The rug I bought. The sofa I paid off in 12 months. The lamp I fixed myself when the switch broke. I knew every item and what it cost. I opened the front door. Cool air touched my face. I felt steady. Not safe yet, but steady. I did not slam the door. I closed it gently. Some things still belong to me, and I treat my things with care. On the porch, I looked at the time. 7:15 p.m. 4 minutes left on their little clock. I smiled a small smile. I was already ahead. I knew where I would go tonight. I knew who I would call in the morning. I knew what file I would ask for at City Hall. Daniel and Carly thought I would disappear. They were wrong. I started my car and whispered, "Let's see who really owns what," and the plan began. I drove to a small motel by the highway. The sign buzzed. The office smelled like coffee and lemon cleaner. I paid cash for one night and kept the receipt. It showed the date and time, 7:29 p.m. I like proof. The room was plain. One bed, one chair, one lamp with a stubborn switch. I put my small bag on the chair and sat on the bed. My hair still felt sticky from the soup. I took a shower and washed my scalp twice. The hot water helped me think. After the shower, I made tea with the little packet by the sink. I opened my spiral notebook and wrote what happened. I wrote the time, 7:11 p.m. Daniel said, "You've got 10 minutes to leave." Carly smiled. I wrote the words exactly. I always do? People argue with feelings. They cannot argue with timestamps. I sent Daniel a short text. I left for tonight. Do not touch my room. We will talk tomorrow. He replied fast. Do not come back. Timestamp, 7:43 p.m. I saved the message. Then I thought about how we got here. After my husband died 5 years ago, the house felt too quiet. Daniel lost his job that same spring. He and Carly needed a place. I said, come stay until you get on your feet. We made rules. We would all share costs. I would keep the house in my name, but the bank said adding Daniel as co-owner could help with a refinance and lower payments. I trusted my son. I added him. We signed at a small office with a notary named Grace. I still remember her blue pen. For a while, it worked. Daniel found work again. Carly took classes. I paid the property tax every year on time. I handled repairs. New roof last May, paid in full. New water heater in August, still under warranty. I kept every receipt. I kept the binder in my room. Things changed last winter. Carly started talking about open space and a fresh start. She left real estate pages open on the laptop. Daniel asked strange questions about my pension and my medicine. Once he said, Ma, wouldn't it be easier if you lived in a smaller place? I laughed it off then. I shouldn't have. 2 weeks ago, Carly asked me to sign insurance renewal papers. The pages looked different. I did not sign. I told her, leave them on my dresser. I'll read them. They disappeared the next day. She said, oh, never mind. My stomach made a small knot. I wrote that down in the notebook, too. I sipped my tea and set my phone timer for the morning. City Hall opens at 8:30 a.m. I would ask for the deed copy, the last filing date, and the names of anyone who requested changes. I would ask for the signature log. I would be polite. I would be firm. The rules are easier to follow when you have paper. Before I slept, I checked something else. I typed my address into the search bar. I wanted to see if anything odd showed up. A link popped up that made my heart kick. It said, coming soon. There was a photo of my living room. My lamp, my sofa. My quilt over the chair. The post date showed today, 6:40 p.m. The agent name was Owen Hill Realty. I took screenshots. I saved them to a new folder called House, Evidence. I called my neighbor, Mr. Benson. He is kind and keeps to himself. Sorry it's late, I said. Could you look at my front door? He walked over while we stayed on the phone. There's a white paper taped here, he said. Says showing by appointment only. Do not disturb occupants. Phone number at the bottom. He read the number to me. I wrote it down. Please don't take it off, I said. Just leave it there. Thank you. I ended the call and sat very still. So they were already moving me out, on paper, on the internet, on the front door, while I was still washing their dishes and buying their groceries. That told me 2 things. 1, they thought I was weak. 2, they moved fast, so I would move faster. I set my alarm for 6:45 a.m. I put my purse by the door. I slid my ID, Social Security card, and Medicare card into a smaller pouch. I laid out clean clothes. I turned off the lamp and stared at the dark ceiling. I felt the fear. I let it be there. Then I spoke to myself. You are not helpless, I said. You have a plan. In the morning, I would walk into City Hall, pull the deed file, and find the first hard crack in their plan. I reached City Hall 10 minutes before it opened. The air was cool and smelled like wet stone. I stood in a short line. When the doors opened, I walked straight to the county recorder window. A clerk with a gold name badge smiled. Good morning, she said. How can I help? I need a copy of my deed, I said, and a list of any filings in the last 90 days. I slid a paper with my address across the counter. I showed my ID. She typed fast, then turned the screen. Current owners, she read. Daniel Rivera and Margaret Rivera, joint owners. She looked at me. No new transfers filed. No power of attorney recorded. Last recorded item was a water heater permit, August 18th. She printed the page. I'd like a certified copy of the deed, I said, and a certified copy of that search result. She stamped both pages with today's date and a blue seal. The timestamp said 8:43 a.m. I paid the fee and kept the receipt in my purse. I sat on a bench near the window and took out my spiral notebook. I wrote 8:43 a.m. Recorder confirms, no transfer, no POA. Owners remain me and Daniel. Then I opened my phone and looked again at the listing I found last night. The post still said coming soon. It showed my living room, my lamp, my quilt on the chair. I took fresh screenshots with today's date in the corner. Next, I called the number from the paper on my door. A man answered. Owen Hill Realty. This is Leo. Hello, Leo, I said. This is Margaret Rivera. The address you have listed is my home. I am a co-owner. Your post says coming soon. Who gave you permission to list it? There was a pause. Papers rustled. I'm looking at the file, he said. I have a signed listing agreement from Daniel Rivera. It says sole owner. I am not gone, I said. And I did not sign anything. Please email me the file right now. I gave him my email. And pause all showings until you confirm ownership. Understood, he said. Careful now. I'll send the packet within 5 minutes and put the listing on hold. I wrote down the time, 9:02 a.m. I walked to a copy shop across the street. By the time I got there, the email arrived. The subject said pre-listing documents. I opened the PDF on a shop computer and printed it. First page, listing agreement. Only Daniel's signature. My name was typed on a second signature line, but the line was blank. Second page, a seller's authorization to show. Under my name it said per POA, but there was no POA in the packet. I circled that part with a red pen and wrote, no POA on record. I emailed Leo back, see attached certified deed and recorder search. You do not have my consent. Pause all marketing. Confirm in writing. He replied 2 minutes later. Listing set to hold, no showings. We will review ownership. I printed his email with the time and date line visible. Then I called my neighbor, Mr. Benson. Could you text me a clear photo of the paper on my door? I asked. He did, with the time at the top of the picture. The paper said, do not disturb occupants. Occupants. That word made my jaw tighten. I saved the photo. I went back to the recorder window. One more thing, I said. Can I file a notice that I do not consent to any transfer without my signed approval? The clerk nodded. We have a simple owner's statement you can file. It's not required, but it helps. We add it to the parcel record so title companies see it. She printed a 1-page form. I filled it out in neat block letters. I wrote, any sale or transfer requires signatures from both owners. She stamped it received at 10:21 a.m. I paid the small fee and kept another receipt. At a quiet table, I put everything in order. Certified deed, certified search, copies of the listing packet, Leo's email, the photo of my door, and my motel receipt. I used sticky notes to mark each date and time. I took a photo of the stack for my records. Now I had my first solid wall, proof that they could not sell without me. Pressure only works when you think you have no ground. I had ground on paper and with stamps. I checked my phone. Another email from Leo. Our broker would like to meet to clear this up. Can you come at 3 p.m.? I replied, yes, I will bring documents and a witness. I texted my friend Lila from church. She is steady and sharp. Can you sit with me at a meeting at 3? She wrote back, I'll be there. At 3 p.m., I would walk into that real estate office with stamped proof and ask who tried to sell my home without me. Lila met me outside the real estate office at 2:55 p.m. She wore her church blazer and carried a neat notebook. I'm here, she said. I'll write everything down. We walked in together. The lobby smelled like coffee and printer ink. A young assistant led us to a glass-walled room. A small sign said, Conference B. Leo, the agent, came in with a woman in a navy suit. I'm Leo, he said, and this is our broker, Ms. Hart. We shook hands. Lila sat beside me and clicked her pen once. Ms. Hart smiled the way people do when they plan to steer you. Thank you for coming. We just want to clear up confusion. I set my folder on the table. Good, I said. Me too. Let's start simple. I slid over the certified deed. The blue stamp and today's date showed clear. Owners, Margaret Rivera and Daniel Rivera, joint. No power of attorney on file. I also filed an owner's statement at 10:21 a.m. today. It's in the parcel record. Leo cleared his throat. We put the listing on hold like I emailed. Thank you, I said. Now who told you Daniel was the sole owner? Leo touched the packet. The listing agreement Daniel signed says he is. I lifted the top page. My name sat on a second line, blank. On the authorization to show line under my name, it said per POA. I tapped it. Please show me that POA. Ms. Hart folded her hands. We do not have it in the file. So you listed a home with per POA and no POA? Lila asked, voice steady. Ms. Hart looked at Leo. We trusted the seller. Trust is not a document, I said. You put coming soon online with photos of my living room at 6:40 p.m. yesterday. You posted a paper on my door that says, do not disturb occupants. I am not an occupant. I am an owner, Leo nodded quickly. We've removed the online post. We'll send a retraction to the MLS. We'll note an ownership dispute. No showings, no marketing, until both owners sign. I'll email that to you now. Lila wrote the time, 3:07 p.m. Ms. Hart tried to smile again. Mrs. Rivera, maybe this is a family misunderstanding. Your son told us you had moved out. I spent last night at a motel, I said. By choice, after he poured soup on me and told me to leave. Here is the motel receipt, 7:29 p.m., and the screenshot of your post at 6:40 p.m. You were marketing my home before I left the driveway. Ms. Hart's smile fell. I'm sorry that happened. We cannot be part of any sale without your consent. Good, I said. Please add to your file. Any future contact must include me. Send a written notice to Daniel and to Carly. State that the listing is void unless both owners sign. Include the recorder's confirmation and my owner's statement. CC me, Leo typed fast. Doing that now. The door opened. Daniel stepped in without knocking. Carly followed. Daniel's eyes were hot. Ma, what are you doing? He said. We talked about selling. You agreed. No, I said. I asked to read the papers. That is not agreeing. Carly lifted her chin. You said you wanted an easier place. This is easier. For who? I asked. Ms. Hart raised a hand. We've paused everything until both owners sign. Daniel turned to her. She's overreacting. I have her waiver. My stomach went cold, then calm. Show it, I said. He dug in his backpack and slapped down a sheet. Occupancy waiver. The top line read. My name was typed. The signature at the bottom looked like a shaky version of mine. I did not sign this, I said. Where did you get it notarized? He blinked. It doesn't need a notary, Lila leaned in. That is the problem. It's worthless. And it's not her signature, Carly said, soft and quick. You signed something last week. I did not, I said. And if you think I did, bring the notary and the journal. Bring the stamp. Bring the date and the time and the ID used. Ms. Hart slid the paper back toward Daniel with 2 fingers. We cannot accept this. We will document that seller misrepresented ownership and authority. She turned to Leo. Put that in the file in the MLS note. Leo typed. Noted at 3:19 p.m. email sent to both parties. Daniel stared at me. Why are you making this hard? I kept my voice level. Because this is my home. Because the rules are the rules. Because I am not an occupant. I am an owner, he looked away. Carly tugged his sleeve. They left without another word. Ms. Hart stood. Mrs. Rivera, we apologize. We will not proceed. If you need our emails for your records, they are in your inbox. Thank you, I said. Lila and I rose. We walked out into clean afternoon light. On the sidewalk, Lila squeezed my hand. Next step, she said. I nodded. We would go straight to legal aid and the bank, and I would lock this down in writing before sundown. Lila drove us to legal aid right after the meeting. The office was bright and quiet. A woman with a tidy bun came to the desk. I'm Ms. Patel, she said. How can I help? I laid my folder on the table. I am a co-owner of my house. My son tried to list it without me. Here are my papers. I showed the certified deed, the recorder search, the photo of my door notice, the screenshots of the listing, and Leo's emails. Ms. Patel read fast, one page at a time. She nodded. You did the right steps, she said. You have proof. We will make 3 things today. 1. A letter to the real estate office and the MLS saying they must keep the listing off and note the ownership issue. 2. A cease and desist letter to Daniel and to Carly. It will say no threats, no showings, no posting the home for sale, and all contact must be in writing. 3. A sworn statement from you that you did not sign any waiver or power of attorney. We will notarize it, she typed while I answered simple questions. Full name, address, dates, times. Use clear words, she said. Short, plain sentences. Judges like that. She printed the letters. I signed them. A notary stamped my sworn statement with today's date and time. 4:12 p.m. Lila wrote the time in her notebook, too. Ms. Patel looked kind but firm. I also want you to file a police report about the soup and the false listing. It sets a record. We will attach the report number to the cease and desist. Do not confront them alone. If you go to the house, ask for a civil standby. An officer will keep the peace while you collect your things. I need my binder and a few items, I said. I also want my meds. Good, she said. Ask for the standby tomorrow morning. Keep your phone on. Keep everything in writing. We thanked her. Lila drove me to my bank next. The lobby was cool and smelled like paper and toner. A manager named Mr. Lane sat with us in a small office. I set my purse on my lap and told him the simple truth. I want my account safe, I said. No phone changes. No address changes without me in person. I want alerts on every charge, he nodded. We can add verbal passwords and a note, in-person ID only. We can also turn on text alerts and daily balance emails. He printed the forms. I made a new hard password and a 4-word phrase I could remember. He put a big red note on my account. No third-party access. I signed and kept copies of each page with today's date and his initials. I opened a small new checking account, too, just for my bills. I moved a modest amount into it. I asked for a safe deposit box. We walked to a quiet room. He showed me how to use the key. I put copies of the deed, the sworn statement, and my notebook scans in there. I kept the originals with me. Anything else? He asked. Yes, I said. Please print my last 6 months of statements. I want the dates and merchant names clear. He did. I put the stack in my folder. From there, we went to the police station. I took a number and waited on a plastic chair. A young officer called my name. What happened? He asked. I told it in plain order. My son poured hot soup on my head at 7:11 p.m. yesterday. He said I had 10 minutes to leave. I left. Later, I found a public coming soon listing for my home. I am a co-owner. Here are screenshots, emails, and a certified deed. He typed while I spoke. He gave me an incident number and a simple receipt. If you want a civil standby to pick up items or documents, he said, we can schedule one for tomorrow. Yes, please, I said. 10 near a.m., he wrote it down. 2 officers will meet you at the address at 9:55 a.m., he said. He gave me a card with his name and the time. Outside, the sky was turning gold. Lila handed me a bottle of water. You did a lot today, she said. I had to, I said. They move fast. I will move faster. We stopped by a copy shop again. I scanned the police receipt and the bank forms. I made a fresh index page for my folder. A for deed, B for recorder search, C for photos, D for emails, E for letters, F for bank, G for police. I wrote the list in large letters. I felt my breath slow. Order helps. Ms. Patel texted at 6:02 p.m. Letters sent by email and certified mail. Keep copies. Call me after the civil standby. I wrote received 6:02 p.m. in my notebook. Before sundown, I checked one more thing. I looked at the realty site. The coming soon post was gone. In its place was a short note. Listing on hold pending ownership verification. I took a screenshot and saved it. At 9:55 a.m. tomorrow, I would meet 2 officers at my front steps, walk back into my house with my head high, and lift the binder they thought I had left behind. I reached my house at 9:55 a.m. 2 officers stood by the curb. "Civil standby?" one asked. "Yes," I said, and gave the incident number. We walked to the door. Daniel opened it. Carly stood behind him with tight lips. "I'm here to collect my things," I said. "Please stay calm." "Officers are present." Daniel started to talk fast. The officer raised a hand. "Sir, let her work. Keep your hands to yourself." I went to my room. My binder was on the floor, half open. I checked the tabs: taxes, permits, receipts. All there. I put it in my bag. I took my medications, my laptop, my jewelry box, and the quilt I made when my husband died. I took photos of each shelf as I left it. Timestamps showed on the screen. In the living room, I saw boxes and a plastic bin of staging pillows. I took a clear photo. "The listing is on hold," I said. "You got the letters." Daniel looked away. Carly crossed her arms. I held up a set of papers. "These are from legal aid. Any sale or showing without me is illegal. Any threats or pressure will be reported. All contact must be in writing." The officer nodded. "You heard her," he said. I asked for my house key back. Daniel said no. The officer stepped closer. "There will be a court order this afternoon," I said. "Give it to the officer, then." He said nothing. I left with the officers. I kept my head level. At noon, Lila met me at the courthouse. Ms. Patel had filed a simple request: an emergency protection order for elder abuse and harassment. We sat on a bench. A judge read my sworn statement, the police incident, and the listing prints. "Order granted for 14 days, she said. "No contact, no entry, stay 100 yards away, surrender keys to police today." Timestamp: 12:47 p.m. The clerk gave me certified copies. Lila wrote the time. At 1:30 p.m., a locksmith met me at the house with a second civil standby. He changed the deadbolt and the knob. He gave me 2 new keys and a receipt. I paid and put the receipt in my binder. The officers knocked on Daniel's door. He handed over his key. He looked small and angry. I did not speak. The officer logged the key on his body camera. At 2:15 p.m., we drove to the title office. Ms. Patel met us with a clerk and a notary. "We can end this 2 ways, Ms. Patel said. "You both follow the rules and live separate in the same house, or Daniel signs a quitclaim deed and leaves today with a small settlement. If he signs, you record it now. The house will be in your name only." Daniel stared at the table. Carly looked at the judge's order and then at the notary. She whispered to him. He rubbed his face. "How much is the settlement?" he asked. 2 months' rent and a small moving fee, Ms. Patel said. "Payable by cashier's check today. No admission of fault. You return all keys. You agree to pick up your items by appointment with a police standby. You agree to no contact. I had the bank envelope ready. Mr. Lane had made the check when I called at noon." I slid it across the table. "This is my final offer," I said. "Take it and walk away." He signed. The notary watched his ID, wrote the number in the journal, and stamped the quitclaim deed with date and time. 3:06 p.m. Carly signed a short add-on. She had no claim and would not return. She slid the pen back like it was heavy. Lila drove me straight to the recorder. I filed the quitclaim deed at 3:36 p.m. The clerk stamped it blue. The computer updated the parcel. Owner, Margaret Rivera. I held the certified copy in my hands and felt my shoulders drop. At 4:10 p.m., we added one more layer. I signed a transfer on death deed to my small living trust. Lila is my backup trustee. No one can sell the house if I am not the one saying yes. The clerk stamped that too. I put both fresh stamps in my binder under a new tab. Deeds, current. Back home, I made tea. The rooms were quiet. I set a small camera by the front door and put Mr. Benson's number on a sticky note near the phone. I printed the judge's order and taped one copy inside the door and one on the fridge. I texted Daniel through Ms. Patel. "All contact through counsel. Pick up by appointment only, with police standby." No reply came back. I washed my hair one more time. I cooked a small pot of chicken soup and ate it slowly at my own table. I saved the receipt from the grocery store and put it in the back of the binder, just because it felt right. Then I locked my new door, set my new key on the nightstand, and slept in my own home, safe and unbroken. I woke up before sunrise. The house felt quiet in a good way. I made coffee and opened my binder. I checked each tab: deed, recorder search, emails, police, court order, new keys, trust papers. All there. I slipped today's date on a new index line. Order helps me breathe. At 8:10 a.m., I walked to Mr. Benson's porch and thanked him for the photo he sent. He nodded. "I'll keep an eye out," he said. "If anyone knocks or leaves a paper, I'll text you." I wrote my new house rules on a card and gave him a copy. "No one may enter without me. All contact in writing. Call police if needed." He tucked it by his phone. Back inside, I called the real estate office. Leo answered. "Good morning, Mrs. Rivera," he said. "We updated the MLS last night. The post shows on hold. Ownership dispute resolved by deed. Seller misrepresentation noted. We also logged all showing requests." He sent me a PDF. I printed it at the copy shop. 3 requests had come in right after the coming soon post went up. Timestamps: 6:52 p.m., 7:04 p.m., 7:25 p.m. I circled each one and wrote, "No access given." Next, I called the notary from years ago, Grace. I found her card in my files. She answered on the second ring. "Grace Notary," she said. "This is Margaret Rivera," I said. "You notarized our RIFI papers 5 years ago. I have a question. Did you notarize any power of attorney for me this month?" "No, ma'am," she said. "I would remember. I keep a journal." "Could I stop by?" I asked. "I would like a short statement that you did not notarize any POA for me." "Of course," she said. "Come at 10 a.m. I drove over." Her tiny office smelled like paper and soap. She opened a big black book. "No entries for you this year," she said. She typed a simple note on letterhead. "As of today's date, I, Grace L., have not notarized any document for Margaret Rivera in 2025. She stamped it and signed. I thanked her and put the letter in my binder under a new tab. Notary. From the parking lot, I called Ms. Patel. "Good," she said. "We will add that to our file. I'm filing a complaint with the State Real Estate Board today. I'll include the MLS retraction, the showing log, and the false per POA language." She also asked me to email the notary letter. I did that from my phone. At noon, I ate a small lunch at a diner near the courthouse. The waitress refilled my water twice. I wrote out a clear budget on a fresh page: mortgage, utilities, food, meds, gas, small cushion for emergencies. I added a line called Home Safety. Under it I wrote, front door camera, window locks, motion light. I saved the receipt for lunch and slipped it in the back. It sounds silly, but paper trails keep people honest. Even me. After lunch, I drove to the hardware store. I bought 2 window locks and a motion light for the porch. A young clerk offered to carry the box. "I'm good," I said, and meant it. Back home, I installed the locks with my small drill. I watched a short video to make sure I did it right. The click sounded firm. The motion light went up with 2 screws and a plug. I tested it. The porch glowed. At 3:40 p.m., my phone buzzed. An email from Ms. Hart, the broker. "We have reported this matter to our compliance officer and to the state board. We have also suspended Daniel Rivera from using our services." I printed it and filed it. I sat down and wrote 2 letters by hand. The first was to myself. "Rules," I wrote. "If Daniel wants to speak to me, it will be with Ms. Patel present. If he wants to make things right, he will repay costs and attend counseling. If he cannot agree, I will not see him." The second letter was to Daniel. I kept it short. "All contact through counsel, no entry. Pick up by appointment with police standby. If you want to make amends, ask Ms. Patel for terms. I wish you good sense." I took a photo of both letters and saved them. Evening came soft and gray. I watered my plants. I folded the quilt I had taken back and placed it on the sofa. I turned on the porch light. I felt almost normal. Not the old normal. A new one. At 7:12 p.m., a soft knock came at the door. I checked the camera. It was Carly, alone, holding a brown envelope. She looked scared, not hard. I opened the door 2 inches and kept the chain on. "I know I'm not supposed to come," she said, voice small. "But I need to tell you something. I have proof." She lifted the envelope a little. "It's about the listing and about what Daniel did. I can't carry this anymore." I slid the chain back, opened the door, and said, "If you're here to tell the truth, come in and put it on the table." I opened the door and kept my voice even. "House rules," I said. "No yelling. No tricks, only truth. If you agree, come in." Carly nodded fast. I took off the chain and let her step inside. I pointed to the table. "Put the envelope here." She sat and slid the brown envelope across to me. Her hands shook. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I went along with things I should not have. I thought it would help us. It didn't. It hurt you. It hurt me too." I opened the envelope. Inside were printed screenshots, 3 pages stapled. Each had small bubbles with times. The chat name at the top said Plan. The members showed Daniel, Carly, and a contact saved as Trent. The first screenshot was from 2 weeks ago. Daniel wrote, "Need Ma out by end of month." Timestamp, 10:14 a.m. Trent wrote, "Fake POA or waiver, easier." Carly wrote, "She won't sign." Daniel wrote, "Then we don't ask." I felt my jaw go tight. The second page showed last night. 5:58 p.m., Daniel wrote, "Post coming soon at 6:40. Put paper on door." Carly wrote, "What about her stuff?" Daniel wrote, "She'll leave." Then a bubble at 7:12 p.m. It worked. "She's gone." I circled that time in red. The third page was a voice memo link and a short note. "Soup was too much. I'm sorry." I looked at Carly. "What is this?" She swallowed. "He told me to be there so you'd feel cornered. I didn't know he'd pour soup." I told him it was cruel. He said, "Fear moves people." I recorded him after when he bragged. She opened her phone, pressed play, and set it on the table. Daniel's voice came out clear and ugly. "Once she's out, we control access. Sign with POA, close fast. She'll fold." I let the recording end. I wrote the time on a sticky note and labeled it. Audio, admission. I slid the screenshots into a sheet protector and added them to my binder under a new tab. Chat, evidence. I saved the audio to my phone and emailed it to myself and to Lila. I also sent it to Ms. Patel with one line. New evidence from Carly, group chat and audio. I wrote the time I sent it in my notebook. Carly took a breath. "There's more." She handed me a thin stack of forms, a blank, durable power of attorney from the internet with my name typed in, no signatures, a half-page occupancy waiver with my name typed, and a practice signature on a separate sheet, like someone had tried to copy my hand. A paper from the realty office that said, "Relocation advance," unsigned but filled out with my address. "He printed these at home," she said. "He planned to say you signed last week. He told me to say I watched you sign." I refused. That's why he added per POA and planned to find it later. I took steady breaths. I did not raise my voice. I placed each paper face up, took photos with the time showing on my screen, and then slid them into the binder. "Thank you for bringing this," I said. "It matters. Now we do the next right thing." Carly wiped her eyes. "I'll do whatever you ask. I'll tell the truth to anyone. I'll sign a statement. I'll face what I did." "Good," I said. "We keep this simple and clean. We will meet Ms. Patel tomorrow morning. You will give a sworn statement. You will attach these pages and the audio. You will name Trent. You will keep copies. Then Ms. Patel will send it to the broker, the board, and the police." Carly nodded. "I understand. Also," I said, "I want you safe. If Daniel blames you, call the police. Show the order. Do not meet him alone." I wrote the police incident number on a card and slid it to her. I also wrote Ms. Patel's number. "Use these." She looked at my kitchen like it was the first time she had seen it. "You keep everything so neat," she said almost to herself. We thought neat meant weak. It doesn't. It means strong. I poured 2 glasses of water. We sat quietly for a minute. The porch motion light clicked on and off as a cat crossed. I felt tired and steady at the same time. My phone buzzed. It was Ms. Patel. "Got the files," her text read. "Good work. Bring Carly at 9 a.m. I'll prepare a sworn statement. We will also ask the court to extend your order to 90 days and add a no-contact term for Carly if she wants it. We will file a board complaint naming the agent, broker, as corrected, and the person called Trent." I read the text to Carly. "Yes," she said. "Please." "Okay," I said. "You can stay here for 1 hour to catch your breath if you want, but then you should go to your sister's or a safe place. Do not return to Daniel tonight," she nodded. "I'll go to my sister's. I told her on the way here. She's waiting." I walked her to the door. She paused. "I was wrong," she said. "Thank you for not shouting." "I don't need to shout," I said. "I have paper." She smiled a small, tired smile and left. I locked the door and put the new tab in my binder. Witness, Carly. Then I set my alarm for 7 a.m., made a short checklist, and laid out clean clothes. I felt the house breathe with me. At 9 a.m., I would sit beside Carly in legal aid, watch her swear to the truth, and turn their private scheme into public record. At 9 a.m., Carly and I sat in the legal aid room again. Ms. Patel laid out clean forms. "We'll keep this simple," she said. "Short sentences, clear times." Carly told the story in order. She named Daniel and the man called Trent. She handed over the chat prints and played the audio. A notary stamped her sworn statement at 9:26 a.m. The blue seal looked firm. I slid a copy into my binder under the new tab. Witness Carly. Ms. Patel sent 3 emails while we watched. One to the real estate board with our files. One to Ms. Hart, the broker, asking for a written statement of what Daniel told them. One to the police address for fraud tips. Each email had a list of the attachments by name and time. She copied us. I printed them in the lobby copy room and wrote the time in my notebook. "Next step," Ms. Patel said. "I'm asking the court to extend your protection order to 90 days. I'm also asking to add Carly if she wants it." Carly nodded. "Yes," she said softly. Ms. Patel filed the request online. The clerk replied with a hearing time. Friday, 10 a.m. I wrote it big on a sticky note. At 10:40 a.m., a detective called. "This is Detective Nguyen from Financial Crimes," he said. "I got your file from legal aid. I see the chat and audio." His voice was even and careful. "Please upload the raw files to our portal. Do not delete anything from your phone. Keep originals." He gave me a case number. I repeated it back and wrote it on the top of my notebook page. He also asked for Leo's emails and the MLS hold note. I sent those 2 and got a received reply at 10:58 a.m. "Who is Trent?" I asked Carly after the call. She looked down. "Trent Mallory," she said. "He runs a little shop called Doc Quick by the bus stop. He makes copies, scans, shipping. He told Daniel he helps people with forms. He said he could coach a POA." Ms. Patel wrote the name and place. "The detective will handle him," she said. "Do not contact him yourselves." At noon, we ate sandwiches at a small cafe across the street. I wrote a neat list titled Costs in my notebook: motel, copies, legal aid fees, 0 today, locksmith, court, bank check, porch light. I left space to add more. I am not angry at paper. Paper gives shape to what people try to hide. After lunch, we went to my bank. Mr. Lane met us with a calm face. "We set alerts on your accounts yesterday," he said. "You also asked for a safe deposit box. Anything more today?" I nodded. "Please add a fraud alert to my credit file," I said. "And freeze it." He helped me contact the credit bureaus from a quiet desk phone. I set a PIN for each one. Then I called the utility companies. I added passcodes to gas, electric, water, and internet. Each call ended with a note. No changes by phone without in-person ID. I saved each confirmation number under a new tab. Accounts. Locks. At 2:30 p.m., Ms. Hart emailed back. "We confirmed Daniel Rivera stated he was the sole owner. He provided no POA. We listed in error based on his claim. We have reported this to our compliance team. We will cooperate with any board or police review. I printed it. It was one more nail in the box he built for himself. At 3:05 p.m., Detective Nguyen called again. We pulled the Doc Quick camera last month for another case, he said. If they met there, we may see them. Do you mind if we take Carly's phone for a quick image of the chat? Carly agreed. We stopped by the station. A tech made a clean copy and gave it back in 20 minutes. The receipt said, "Device return, 3:42 p.m. I slid it into the binder. Back home, I checked my porch camera. Nothing strange. I watered my plants and wrote tomorrow's plan. Morning, prepare for Friday hearing. Afternoon, call my doctor for a quick check of my scalp and get the visit note. I wanted a simple line for my file. Hot liquid to head, no burn, stress, elevated BP. Plan, rest, hydrate. Evening, print the day's emails and hole punch the stack. At 5:18 p.m., a number I did not know flashed on my phone. I let it go to voicemail. It was Daniel. His voice was tight. Ma, you're blowing this up. Call me. I did not call back. I forwarded the voicemail tums. Patel and saved it with the time. I made simple soup for dinner and buttered toast. I ate at my table and listened to the house breathe. It felt like the rooms were learning my new rules, too. At 7:45 p.m., Ms. Patel texted, Board accepted complaint. Police case active. Friday hearing set? Sleep? You did well. I put my phone face down and watched the porch light glow. I walked to the front door, checked the lock, and turned off the hall lamp. Then I stood at the window and looked at the street I had known for years. I felt sad for the boy I raised and strong for the woman I am. Both can be true. In 2 days, I would stand before the judge with stamps, screenshots, and a witness, and Daniel would have to answer on the record for what he tried to do. Friday came clear and cool. Lila picked me up at 9:15 a.m. We carried my binder and a calm breath each. Carly met us on the courthouse steps with Ms. Patel. Short answers, Ms. Patel said. Plain words. Let the papers speak. At 10 a.m., the clerk called my name. We sat at the small tables. Daniel came in with a lawyer I did not know. He looked tired. He kept his eyes on the floor. The judge took the bench and opened the file. We're here on a request to extend a protection order, she said, and to confirm exclusive possession of the home. Ms. Patel stood first. Your Honor, she said, my client is a co-owner who became sole owner after a quitclaim deed recorded on Wednesday at 3:36 p.m. She was forced out the night before by harassment. A home listing went live without her consent. We have the deed, the recorder search, the MLS hold note, emails from the broker, and a sworn statement from Carly Rivera with chat screenshots and an audio admission. We ask for a 180-day order, exclusive possession, key return already completed, and no contact except through counsel. She handed up a neat packet. The judge read in silence. Blue stamps, dates, times. I watched her finger rest on the MLS retraction line, and then moved to Carly's statement. Carly spoke next. Her voice was steady. I helped post coming soon, she said. I am sorry. I brought proof of the plan and the audio. I will cooperate with police. I want to be included on the no-contact order for my safety. The judge nodded and marked a page. Daniel's lawyer stood. Your Honor, my client regrets the incident. He believed wrongly that he had authority to list. He has signed a quitclaim deed and returned all keys. He asked the court to limit the order to 90 days. The judge turned to Daniel. Did you pour hot soup on your mother and tell her to leave in 10 minutes? She asked. Daniel swallowed. I lost my temper, he said. I'm sorry. Did you claim to a broker that you were sole owner? She asked. He looked at the table. Yes? The judge set down her pen. The paper trail is clear, she said. Ownership is clear. The listing was improper. The behavior was coercive. She signed the first order. Protection order extended to 180 days. No contact. Stay 100 yards from petitioner and her home. Communication only through counsel. Violation is arrestable. She signed the second. Exclusive possession of the home confirmed to petitioner. Any property pickup by respondent shall be by police standby. Date to be arranged by counsel. Ms. Patel added one more request. We also ask for costs. Locksmith, filing, copies, and 1 motel night. Approved, the judge said. Submit receipts within 10 days. I will enter a restitution line. The clerk stamped everything with today's date and time. I slid the certified copies into my binder under a new tab. Court, final orders. I wrote the time in my notebook. 10:42 a.m. Outside the courtroom, Detective Nguyen waited by the bench. We have the chat and audio, he said. We pulled video from the Doc Quick shop. It shows Daniel and a man matching Trent Mallory meeting 2 days before the listing. We will send this to the district attorney for review under attempted real estate fraud and elder abuse statutes. You may be contacted later for a statement. Keep your files exactly as you have them. I nodded. I will, I said. Ms. Hart, the broker, stepped up with a short letter. For your records, she said. We have closed our file and reported the matter to the board. We regret our part. I took it and filed it right there on the hallway table. A simple act. A clean click of metal rings. Done. Lila squeezed my hand. You did it, she said. You stood up and stayed kind. I felt the words land. We stopped by the bank on the way home. I gave Mr. Lane the court orders to scan into my safe deposit folder. He printed a copy of my account alerts and stapled them behind a new cover sheet. Active protections. I liked the look of those words. Back at the house, I brewed tea and set the orders on the kitchen counter to read again in the good afternoon light. The porch motion light blinked once as a bird flew by. The rooms felt rooted. My name on the deed felt like a steady floor under my feet. Carly texted that she reached her sisters and had changed her locks. Ms. Patel texted that she had filed the costs request and would send a simple one-page guide. What to do if he calls, knocks, or posts online. I replied with a thank you and turned my phone face down. I walked from room to room, not to check for danger, but to say hello. The lamp I fixed. The sofa I paid off. The quilt I sewed. I opened a window. Cool air moved the curtains. The house didn't feel like a fight anymore. It felt like mine. After dinner, I would write one last letter, short, honest, and final, and close this story the way it should end, on my terms. I ate a simple dinner, eggs and toast, and set the plate in the sink to soak. The house felt calm. I took my binder to the table and opened it to a blank page. At the top, I wrote, Final notes. Then I made a short list. Court orders, filed and copied, bank and credit, locked. Real estate, closed and reported. Police case, active. House, new locks. Camera, lights. Next steps. Rest, doctor visit. Paint kitchen. I turned to a clean sheet and wrote the last letter I needed to write. It was to Daniel, and I kept it plain. All contact will stay through counsel, I wrote. There will be no visits, calls, or messages. If you want to repair the harm, ask Ms. Patel for the list. Repay costs, complete counseling, and send a written apology that accepts what happened without excuses. If you choose not to do this, we will live separate lives. I wish you a life you earn. I signed my full name. I scanned it, emailed it to Ms. Patel, and slid the paper into the tab-marked letters. Then I wrote a small note to myself. Rules for my heart, I called it. Sleep, eat, walk, pray a little. Keep the house neat. Keep proof, but do not hold poison. Speak slow. Say no when no is the right word. Say yes only when yes is safe. I taped that note inside the binder cover so I would see it every time I opened the rings. I washed the dinner plate, wiped the counters, and stood a long minute at the stove. I took down the pot where the soup had boiled the night he shouted. I scrubbed its rim until it shined. I wiped the cabinet door, the backsplash, the little lip of trim where a drop had dried. I cleaned slowly, each stroke the same, water, cloth, dry. When the light hit the tile, it looked new. My hands stopped shaking. I set a paint chip on the table, a soft cream I had picked up at the hardware store. Warm linen, the label said. Next week I will roll it on these walls. The room will look like morning. I like that idea. I checked the front door camera once more. The porch was empty except for a moth batting at the light. I texted Mr. Benson, all quiet here. Thank you. He sent a thumbs up and a smile. I put his number and Lila's number on a card by the phone under the words, call first. Carly texted goodnight from her sister's place. Safe here, she wrote. I will meet Ms. Patel on Monday to follow up. Thank you for giving me a chance to tell the truth. I typed back, do the right thing, every day. That is the chance. Then I turned my phone face down. I walked through each room. I touched the sofa I paid off, the lamp I fixed, the quilt I sewed. I opened the window and let a little night air in. I stood at the back door and looked out at the small yard. The porch light caught the edges of the grass like silver. I thought about planting herbs in the spring. I thought about baking on Sundays again. Small plans felt strong. I went back to the table and closed the binder. The covers met with a firm sound that felt like a door latching. I put the binder on the shelf by the front door, easy to reach, where I keep my purse and keys. I like having the proof close, but I also like that I do not need to grip it anymore. It can sit there. I can sit here. I made tea and carried the mug to the living room. I did not turn on the television. I listened to the quiet and to my own breath. When it cooled, I finished it, set the cup in the sink, and turned off the kitchen light. The house held steady in the dark, like a boat tied to a strong post. In my room, I set my new key on the nightstand and smoothed the quilt over the sheets. I turned back the corner and slid in. The mattress felt like a shore. I closed my eyes and let the day end where it should end. Under my own roof. In my own bed, with the door I paid for locked, and my name resting on the deed like a hand on my shoulder. I am the owner of this house and the keeper of my peace. If you guys like them, make sure to check out these video and also like and subscribe. Thanks.